Thank you. Today is Thursday, June 18th, 2026. It is 3 p.m. We are in the council chambers at 19 Parnell Street. I'd like to call the meeting to order. Resolution 101-26, please.
Be it resolved that the Council of the Township of Greater Madawaska calls to order the June 18th, 2026 regular council meeting at 3 o'clock.
Do we have a mover? Councillor Popke, second by Councillor Tripp. All in favor? That is carried. Thank you. Please stand for O Canada.
True
Thank you. Please be seated. As we gather in chambers, I would like to acknowledge on behalf of the council and the community that we are meeting on the unceded traditional territory of the Algonquin people. We would like to thank the Algonquin people and express our support for their rich history, and we are extremely grateful for their many and continued displays of friendship. We'd also like to thank the generations of people who have taken care of this land for thousands of years. Thank you, Miigwech. We'll now move on to 4.1, approval of agenda resolutions 102-26. Resolution, please.
That the agenda of the council meeting of June 18th, 2026 be approved as presented.
Thank you. Do we have a mover? Councillor Thompson, second by Councillor Levesque. All in favor? So carried. Thank you. We'll now move on to 5.1, approval of minutes, resolution 103-26. Mover, please. Let's go with the resolution first, then the mover.
Be it resolved that the following minutes are approved by council. May 21st, 2026, regular council, June 11th, 2026, public meeting.
Thank you. Do we have a mover? Councillor Tripp, second by Councillor Levesque. These have been distributed previously, and we've had time to review. Does anybody need any discussion on these matters? No, all in favor? That is carried. Thank you. We'll now move on to 5.2, acceptance of minutes, resolution 104-26. Resolution, please.
Be it resolved that the following minutes are accepted by council. April 27th, 2026, Canada Day Committee, April 28th, 2026, Recreation and Culture Committee, and May 22nd, 2026, Canada Day Committee.
Do we have a mover? Councillor Thompson, second by Councillor Popke. These have all been distributed ahead of time. Does anybody need any discussion on any of these matters? There's none seen. All in favor? That is carried. Thank you. Section 6, declaration of pecuniary interest or the general nature thereof. There is none seen. I have a short mayor's report for you. Since our last regular council meeting, I've attended 11 county council meetings on behalf of the township. I've attended one Ottawa Valley Tourism Association meeting this morning. And we have had one public meeting, one committee of adjustment. I have been to 5 community events, and on the and we've commenced the weekly wildfire updates for 2026 from the provincial government. And most of the wildfires are condensed up in the northern area of Ontario at this present time. I'd like to mention this weekend, on the 20th, Saturday, the 20th of June, we are having our local social at the Calabogie Community Center, located at 574 Mill Street. It is noon to 4 p.m. Currently, we have approximately 55 businesses who have entered. And there are businesses not just from our community, but we have representation from Petawawa, Arnprior, and pretty well everywhere in between. So it's setting up to be a great event, I hope. And I hope the weather is pleasant for us, even though most of it will be covered. Thank you. And then lastly, I'd like to mention the June 5th and 6th in Calabogie, they had something called Guitars and Gasoline out at the racetrack, which was very well attended, but it's not exactly what I want to talk about, is the attendance is how, when something happened there, how it was controlled and how efficient it was. On Saturday afternoon, there was a lightning strike not too far away. We understand, I'm not sure the exact distance, but it was determined by the staff that it was a danger and that the grounds needed to be evacuated. Now, being an ex-Toronto police officer, I've done pay duties at many concerts and watched many venues empty out. I have never seen an emergency plan executed the way this was. The staff and the volunteers Tracy Fredericks and Jay Fredericks were overseeing all the volunteers, and the rapid response when the call went out that we need to evacuate, everybody went to seek shelter in their vehicles or other locations. But what was really amazing for me was the Renfrew County paramedics. They put drones up into the air, and the speakers on those drones were fabulous. They were able to come across and say, there is lightning in the area, please shelter in place or shelter in your vehicle. and the response was fabulous. I'm not sure how many drones they had up, but they were up over the parking lot, and it was a great response. And even though we don't want things to go wrong, when things do go wrong and you have an emergency management plan, it worked very effectively. And I just wanted to point that out, that they were very well prepared. And the event itself was great, but to me was the organization that I got to see behind the scenes that I wasn't privy to. So I just wanted to point that out. So thank you. And that concludes my mayor's message. Councillor Levesque.
Don't normally ask this question, but out of the 11 county meetings you attended, is there anything that came about that affects us indirectly or directly? Well,
the 417 and 17 corridor, there was discussions around that, and we actually had a provincial meeting as well that up at county, a special operations meeting. So there was issues around perceived timelines and actual timelines. At the announcement, they mentioned the funding was available and it was going out to tender for, I guess, pre-consultation and getting the engineering going. And the timeline is 2034 is for when everything should be getting moving. It's going in 5 different stages. So it's 5 separate tenders so that they can be done concurrently, as opposed to tendering to one large firm and doing the whole scope. So that was part of what the explanation was. And we are not directly on the 417 or 17. However, we are extremely impacted by it because we are a tourist area. And we also have a lot of logging trucks, and that route is very important. So of the major things that were at the county, that the foremost that it's affecting us is that 417 corridor. I'm just trying to think, there was a discussion around the Ottawa Valley Tourism did a presentation, and they talked, Petawawa and Pembroke have the municipal accommodations tax, and they were talking about how much income that is providing for the 2 townships. Well, I guess not, sorry, Pembroke is a town of its own, not a township. So that was brought up. As far as directly affecting us at this time, I can't think of anything else at this time. But, yep, and also just so people are aware that all of the minutes from the county meetings are available on the county website as well. And each month after the meetings, they do a summarization similar to what we do here in Greater Madawaska on their website, if there's any questions.
Thank you.
And if you review it and you see something that you'd like me to talk about, just give me the heads up. Okay. Anything else? Not this time. Okay. Great, we will now move on to committees and boards. 8.1, the Canada Day Committee, Councillor Tripp.
Thank you. A very brief update that things are in their final stages as we get ready. We're still and will always be looking for volunteers, so people can reach out to that. And the last meeting of the committee will be on Monday to do the site visit, the walk around and look at the layout of all the activities. It's incredibly well organized again this year. So I want to give a compliment out to all of the committee members and the volunteers of the committee that over the past number of months have been working hard to bring this day together. It's looking to be a really successful Canada Day again. Good music, good community activity, lots for the kids. We have a new summer student working with us. We call her Robin with an I, with a Y for youthful. She has been knocking this out of the park for us. We were looking to do booklets and activities for young people, and what we found in the market, what the committee found in the market was rather two-dimensional and not very exciting for kids to engage in. So she went away, came back after spending some time on her computer and produced this entire booklet specifically for Calabogie for the kids as an activity center, and it's remarkable. That morphed into tickets for volunteers. We have a bit of money left over for volunteer appreciation for those that help out for hamburgers and hot dogs and stuff on the street. but Robin with an I has been a huge asset to us, and I understand there's an opportunity she may be able to stay on and help out a little bit past the summer or into next year. She's a real star. So the committee has been really successful. I'm thanking all the people who were on it and the staff as well that have been kind of carrying the torch forward for us and making sure we stay online. We're in good shape financially, and we're looking for a very successful Canada Day. So thank you.
Thank you, and I think we'll move on to 8.2 and keep the mic on in front of you, sir. We're moving to the South Ottawa Valley OPP Detachment Board.
Thank you very much. Quite a bit of activity. We still have a posting out for a board administrator. This is a part-time position, 20 hours a week, $30 an hour. It's an employment position in terms of EI and CPP and brought on board, but it is a part-term. That is still available and running, and it's on our website as well as all the other 7 municipal websites. So if there are people outside of the Greater Madawaska area interested, you can check our site or go to your own respective sites for that. We also have another position opening up, although the closing date is June 22nd, so it's relatively soon, and it's youth in policing. It's a summer student position to work at the OPP detachment in Renfrew. It's an exciting opportunity. Again, the postings are online if there's interest, and the contact person is tina.hunt, tina.hunt@opp.ca. And then the third is the Kids and Cops Fishing Derby is coming up. This is an annual event. It's been quite a lot of fun and quite well attended. It's on July 18th at the Cobden Beach in Cobden. So it's catching, again, the entire area of the OPP detachment service through the board from 9 until noon. Registration starts at 8:30. It's a free event. Lots of fun, and it's a way to get out in the water. There will be an OPP tent set up at the beach in Cobden on July 18th. Just show up there, free registration, and have some fun for the day. Lastly, we had our annual general meeting of the Ontario Association of Police Services Boards, which is now called Police Governance Ontario. We changed it. The acronym is a little more reflective of what we do. And with that, it was a chance for all of the OPP detachment commanders, board chairs, and vice chairs to get together and look at the harmonization of the legislation, and after the 4 years, kind of redefine where we're heading as an organization and as a board support to OPP. Very productive meeting, and out of that will come an annual board report in the coming weeks and months. Thank you. That sums it up for the OPP Detachment Board.
Anybody have any questions? I have just a couple. One, the student employment for the summer. Is there an age requirement that we know of, or do it have to be a high school, university, college, or do we know what it is?
It's through the Federal Employment Youth Services Program, so it's usually students who are in school.
So in high school?
In high school, okay, or early university.
Thank you. And the other one, being a police fishing, what was it called again?
Kids and Cops.
Kids and Cops. I take it you need your fishing license for that because they're going to be watching? Okay, thank you. We'll now move on to the Library Board. Councillor Thompson, 8.4.
Thank you.
8.3, sorry.
Thank you. We touched on the memorandum of understanding that I think at the last meeting. It's something that's still in progress, but I really didn't understand at that point how important this piece is. The library is it is a separate entity, but most of its funding comes from the township. So we need a better memorandum of understanding that both entities work together. It is separate, but if we want staff working with staff to make better use of the library, to bring it to more areas, their services to more areas, or even to help the library find out if the services are wanted everywhere. Anyhow, that memorandum of understanding will carry us forward to, now that we've expanded the township staff that can do recreation and seniors, et cetera. And we've got the library that does a lot of community events, et cetera, at the library, we need to have a structure so we know whose job is what. So that's something that's being worked on at the staff level right now. It's not ready for presentation, but especially considering our plans for including a library in the health hub, whatever, the community hub. So the junction, I guess. Anyhow, that's the big news. Just thought I'd explain what's going on with that. Thank you.
Thank you. Any questions, comments, concerns? Okay, I will now move on to 8.4, Recreation Culture Committee. Councillor Levesque.
Thank you. As you mentioned earlier, the local social is this Saturday, and we got 5 volunteers that are going to be present and helping out, as well as having an area where people can find out a little bit more about recreation and cultural activities. Planning continues with Music in the Park and other events, which will be announced throughout the summer and beyond. A complete list of recreation and cultural events and opportunities is been drafted, and we're adding to it with help from staff. And I just got to say that once you see it, it's amazing how many things there are to do continually throughout this giant township. It's amazing. All over the place, there's stuff going on. And you know, Rob said he attended 4 events, but there's a lot to attend if they want to. Anyway, that's all I have.
Okay, thank you. Any questions, comments, concerns? None. All right, we'll now move on to 9, Public Works, 9.1, PW 08-2026, Winter Sand, Resolution 105-26, please.
That council award PW 08-2025 Winter Sand, 2026, Winter Sand to Town and Country Farming for $89,040, net HST included.
Thank you, and we're going to do that as a friendly amendment, I take it, from 25 to 26. Okay, then since that's been changed now I'll ask for a mover. Councillor Levesque, so second by Councillor Tripp. Background, please. Steve, correct?
Yep.
Okay.
So in 2026, the budget includes the purchase and stockpile winter sand for the Calabogie and the Madawaska sand shed. So this year we're doing a little bit different. Over the last few years, we've been having a hard time getting winter sand and getting contractors to put in for this. So this year we tendered it for the screening, the hauling, and the stacking into the sand shed yards, but getting the material out of the township's own pit. And we're going to try that this year. We had 3 contractors put in to do the work, so that was good. It's better than the last few years. We've only had 1 contractor put in for the screening and buying it from them. So it's better that way already. And for the tonnage rates, so the tender process resulted in cost savings compared to 2025. The cost to supply the Calabogie yard last year was $20.39 a ton in 2025, and $12 a ton this year in 2026. So it's quite a saving. So I'm hoping it all works out, and that's why we've been working at. And Kirsten's been working on it too, is the expansion of the gravel pit so we can have more area there to get aggregate out of. So I'm looking forward to see how it all works out, and if the sand's good for grip and this year. So Town and Country Farming was the cheapest for the Madawaska sand shed with $27,984. And then the Calabogie sand shed for $61,056. So staff recommends a tender PW 08-2026 winter sand for Calabogie sand shed and Madawaska sand shed be awarded to Town and Country Farming for $89,040. That's net HD included. And as for financial, the award to the winter sand at $89,040 is within the approved budget for $177,242 we have for winter sand and salt materials, and the rest of the remaining budget will be used to purchase the salt to mix with that winter sand, plus the additional salt we need for just the winter operations.
Thank you. Any questions, comments, concerns, discussion items from council? Councillor Popke.
How many tons of sand do you think you're going to acquire for the winter season?
So this year, we have tendered for 7,000 ton, 2,000 for Madawaska, and we usually get 5,000 ton here.
Thank you. Any other questions from council? Just, Steve, I understand there was a, last winter, there was a salt issue with Windsor Salt, or one of the companies, I can't remember exactly was, with the pricing and stuff. Are we affected by that at all, or?
The pricing was never affected. It was the salt shortage of getting it.
Okay.
They were shipping more of it to the States than they were bringing to Ontario.
Okay, thank you. Right, we'll call the question then. All in favor? That is carried. Thank you. Thank you, Steve. We'll now move on to 10, Protection Services Department, 10.1, Fire Department Boat Update Information Item. Chief, please.
Good afternoon. This memo is intended to inform council that the fire department will trade the donated boat for a replacement vessel better suited to operational needs at no additional cost to the township. Approximately 2 years ago, the fire department was graciously donated a fishing boat by Lise O'Neill. We are very appreciative of the donation and support shown to the fire department. At the time of the donation, we indicated to Ms. O'Neill that while the boat was appreciated, we might eventually need a vessel better suited for our operational requirements. Ms. O'Neill was supportive of trading in the boat, if required, to better meet the fire department's needs. Over the last year, it's become apparent that the boat is not the best fit for our operational needs. In an effort to recover value for the township, we attempted to sell the boat through bids and tenders and other tendering processes. However, we did not receive any suitable offers. As a result, we will move forward with trading the boat for a vessel better suited. The replacement boat will be used to transport firefighters, equipment, pumps, hoses, and other supplies across lakes and waterways to support emergency incidents, wildland fire operations, and access to remote locations. The proposed replacement is a flat-bottom John boat equipped with a 30 horsepower outboard. This style of boat is simple, reliable, and easy to launch, much better suited for what we do. Any cost difference between the trade-in value of the current boat and the purchase price of the replacement vessel will be covered by the Calabogie Firefighters Association. There will be no additional cost to the township. This is another example of how funds raised through community events and fundraising efforts are reinvested to support the fire department and enhance the services we provide to our residents. The trade-in will allow us to apply the value of the donated boat toward an asset that better meets the fire department's needs while continuing to support the services we provide to the township.
Thank you, Chief. Any questions, comments, concerns, discussion items from council? Councillor Popke.
Do you have a particular place in mind where you're going to get one, or you're starting to look for places to?
No, we have gone through the process. I believe it's called Ottawa Valley Boats up in Pembroke. So we've gone through the procurement policy process, got our 3 prices, and they came in with the best price and equipment needed.
Perfect.
Perfect. Thank you, Chief. Any other questions, comments, concerns? No, and I think one of the things that we should mention here is the fact that this boat was donated to us by a community member in the first place, and how greatly appreciative we are of that gave us this starting point that you could trade in and look for one more suitable. So once again, I thank the O'Neill family for supplying that to us, so thank you. If there's no other questions, Councillor Thompson.
For anyone who's listening that didn't follow the history of it, you used to have to borrow a boat, right? The fire department.
we've borrowed boats in the past.
Yeah.
And we make a little bit of a mess of them, so.
Yeah, so it's a really, really, really nice thing.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Thank you. We'll now move on to 11, the Planning Department. Sorry? It's not, this was an information only. Thank you. We'll now move on to 11, the Planning Department. 11.1, bylaw 30-2026, zoning amendment, Robertson, resolution 106-26. Resolution, please.
That council approve zoning bylaw 30-2026 to amend the zoning of the property municipally known as 314 Kennedy Road from rural residential to rural residential exception 23, in order to recognize and permit an existing secondary dwelling unit located above a detached garage and to establish site-specific zoning provisions to reduce the minimum required interior side yard setback from 3.0 to 0 meters, and the minimum required water setback for a proposed septic system from 30 meters to 15.2 meters, thereby facilitating servicing for both dwelling units on the property.
Thank you. Do we have a mover? Councillor Tripp, second by Councillor Thompson. Background, please, Kristen.
Thank you. So this zoning bylaw amendment application relates to property known municipally as 314 Kennedy Road, which is a waterfront residential property located adjacent to Calabogie Lake. The property is approximately 0.21 hectares or 0.51 acres in size and contains an existing single detached dwelling as well as a detached two-story garage. The purpose of this application today is to recognize an existing secondary dwelling unit located above a detached garage and establish site-specific zoning provisions related to the secondary dwelling unit, garage, and the construction of a new septic system. Just some brief background associated with the construction. The garage was originally approved in 2011 as a detached garage with a storage loft. However, at some point prior to the current owners purchasing the property, the upper level was converted into a self-contained residential unit without the necessary planning approvals or building permits. The issue came to light when the current owners applied to replace the portion of the existing septic system. Through that review, staff determined that the secondary dwelling unit had never been formally established or recognized by the township, and that the existing septic system was not sized to accommodate both dwelling units. As a result, the applicants are proposing a new septic system designed to service both the principal dwelling and the secondary dwelling unit. Although there is an existing septic system on the property, this is not considered a like-for-like replacement. So because the new system must accommodate both the dwelling units, it's treated as new construction and is not afforded the same grandfathering provisions that would typically apply to an existing septic system. Due to the physical constraints of the lot, a reduced water setback is required. It is worth noting, however, that the proposed system is actually located slightly farther from the lake than the existing septic. The application also addresses a survey discrepancy, which identified that the garage is located closer to the side lot line than was previously approved through the minor variance application. Throughout the review process, the township received both written comments and comments during the statutory public meeting. There were comments received in favor and comments received with concerns. The concerns raised generally related to potential impacts on water quality, the reduced septic setback, shoreline intensification, precedent setting, and the fact that the secondary dwelling unit was established without approvals. The comments received during the public meeting largely reflected those that were already submitted in writing. To address these concerns, the applicants were required to provide a planning justification report and a hydrogeological and terrain analysis, which were both prepared by qualified professionals. Those studies have concluded that the property can adequately service and support both dwelling units on private services, and that the proposed advanced treatment septic system can be accommodated without adverse impacts to groundwater resources or to Calabogie Lake. While the proposed septic system cannot achieve the township's preferred 30-meter setback due to the physical constraints of the property, it does exceed Ontario Building Code requirements and incorporates a modern Waterloo biofilter treatment system that is expected to improve the effluent quality compared to the existing septic. From a planning perspective, the application is not facilitating new development, but rather addressing the existing situation, including improved servicing for the property. Staff have reviewed the application, supporting technical studies, applicable planning policies, and comments received through the public consultation process. The findings of that review have been summarized and were provided to council within the report for its consideration. I will also note the applicant's agents are available if there's any questions associated with the technical reports.
Thank you very much. And prior to moving on, Councillor Levesque, I'm just going to bring up your email earlier. You may recall at our public meeting, Councillor Levesque had a perceived conflict of interest in regards to this. Since that time, he has reflected on it, and he has come to the conclusion he does not have a conflict of interest, and that's why he's here today. I just thought we'd let that, because the viewing public know that something happened behind the scenes, and Councillor Levesque let us know about that. So thank you for that. I will now open the floor to any questions from council. Councillor Thompson.
I have to admit that when I first read this, I thought, are we allowing people to build anywhere and do anything and then make it okay by changing the rules? Not the case at all. After especially getting the follow-up with after the meeting, after the letters of support, and after understanding what kind of water system is being put in there, that made a huge difference. This will, it's an advanced water treatment system, which was the question I asked at the meeting. It's better, by the time the water gets to the weeper bed, it's almost clean. So, and the 15-meter setback is what Ontario Building Code requires. So this overall is an improvement. The other thing that makes a little bit of difference, but it probably shouldn't, is that this was done historically, and there have been some buying and selling, and I know it should be buyer beware, but you're putting in, the applicant is putting in a lot of money to fix a situation historically, and I think it's commendable.
Thank you. Any questions, comments, concerns from the rest of council? Councillor Tripp.
Thank you. I'll just echo that as well. I think as we unpack this and we get more information on the zoning amendment, it starts to make a little more sense. This is a situation where the applicant inherited the situation. My personal view, when I buy a piece of property, either in Ottawa or wherever, I make the assumption if I'm the third or fourth or fifth purchaser after the build, I just assumed the due diligence was done. And in this case, it wasn't. There were issues around the permit or the occupancy for the unit above. And I understand through reading the document that the garage was originally built with very clear instructions that it was to have no living accommodation above, but rather storage. So unfortunate situation that the applicant has inherited, and there are two remedies. The first, which would be the letter of not going for an exception, would be to decommission the living unit and leave the house with its current system and the current septic, which are both built in a time when we didn't have the same standards and the same access to technology and environmental protection that we have now. So here's a situation where we have an alternative where the applicant is willing, at their expense, to upgrade the system to accommodate and recognize that for whatever reason, it wasn't approved, but now let's make it right. So let's make it right by putting in a system that provides that extra source of clarity from an environmental point of view, that at the end of the day, the impact on the lake is significantly less by the decision or the recommendation of staff now to council. So those were the couple of points that I had, but the biggest was on having the information. This is not about setting a precedent. It's not about going forward, people can build closer to the water. This is specific as an exception to the rule for the amendment to the bylaw. And it's the best situation I see out of the alternatives. But it doesn't set the precedent where new builds can build a house and have the septic closer out of convenience. It is just because this is the remedy to find one solution to a problem. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other questions, comments from council? Councillor Levesque.
Thank you. I guess it's probably questions to some of the agents on the line. I have one question regarding the optional phosphorus reduction option, which was outlined in the report, and just curious if that is part of the current solution that's being proposed.
Sorry, this is directed towards Janine from J2P2?
Whoever the agents are, I can't tell. All I see is names.
There we are.
There you are.
Thank you.
Janine, did you get my question?
I did. I'm wondering if Anthony, would you like to respond to that one? Yes, through you, Mr. Mayor, I do believe that our understanding is that optional phosphorus treatment is to be included in the septic system.
Thank you. It was just mentioned as an option, and I couldn't find anywhere it was actually part of the solution, but thank you.
Yes, and as I said, I believe that, to the best of our knowledge, I believe that is what Mr. Robertson's intent is.
Okay. My second question, different question, about what happens after the fact. So the system's not built today. It's all based on specs and what we anticipate is going to be done in part of the system. What happens after the fact to prove that the system is effective as outlined in the documentation? So for instance, 30, 60, 90, 120 days after the system's installed, how will we know that it was the right decision and there's no negative effect of the system?
Through you, Mr. Mayor, I believe we would have to look to some of the marketing and technical materials that are available from Waterloo Biofilter. I can't provide you an answer at the moment. We can certainly get back to you on that. I do know that these systems have been studied quite extensively, and they have there is data out there that proves how much effluent they are reducing. But we could certainly get back to council with an answer on that through the planner, if that would please council.
Thank you. Just to make sure we're clear, it's really documented well in the literature that I saw. The question I guess I have, and maybe it's to you, Kristen, and the planning aspect is, after the system's installed, how will we as governors of this decision know that this system is installed and it's working as expected based on the technical information that's provided by the vendor?
I don't really have an answer for you. I mean, the chief building official is responsible for inspecting the septic system. Once the septic system has been done and it's received its certificate of approval, I don't really believe that the chief building official goes out and re-inspects weeks or months later to see whether or not the septic is working as it should.
So as a follow-up, based on the fact that this is an unusual scenario, are we able to request that as part of the condition, or request it as a later request?
Sure.
Yeah, okay. So I hope you guys know what I'm after here, because we're reducing the setback toward the lake. This is a big concern for people, and I think it would behoove us to make sure that the system is in and it's doing what it's supposed to do, and we don't have any concerns.
Thank you. Councillor Thompson?
I'd like to suggest, if it's all right with you, that, sorry,
Mr. Robertson?
Mr. Rob, if he would like, I think he has these answers that Jeff is looking
Okay,
for.
so at this, sorry, Councillor Tripp, supplemental to that, or? Okay. Well then, if we're going to have Mr. Robertson speak, I will then request a suspension of the rules of the regular council meeting to allow him to answer questions. I need 2/3 approval by the council to allow that. So I'll ask the question, will we suspend the rules to allow Mr. Robertson to speak?
Those in favor?
Those in favor? That is unanimous, so carried. Mr. Robertson, if you'd like to just move forward and sit there, and Kristen, could you just lend him your microphone if he needs to answer questions? Thank you. Okay, and you were going to direct a question to him now, Lois?
Yeah. I think the question is, there is a system, right? Please explain. You know what the questions are, yeah.
Okay, part A was the phosphorus reduction. The system by Waterloo Biofilter contained many different parts. In my situation, there will be 4 tanks. One of the tanks is a phosphorus reduction. It was recommended by my soils engineer and the engineering department from Kohler Institutes. Interesting is that there is no phosphorus issues in Calabogie Lake. Some lakes have them, our lake have none of them. She put that in there as a strengthening argument for what I'm doing. And that tanks, it doesn't matter what it costs, I won't tell you that. Part B is, I've had one of these systems on a previous house that I built and I actually lived in. Same company, same system. There's a contract that I have to sign with the company. Every 6 months, they come to your home, and they don't just come and glance. They take off all the lids, they turn all the pumps on, they check the water levels, they actually communicate back to the head office via tech. Example, I'm watching the guy do one of the 6 months checkups on this system on my house, and he says, turn on pump 2. The guy was 50 miles away, the next thing the pump starts churning. So that's how they are. So there is a contract, and that contract is also with the municipality. So when they do their 6 month check, the reports always go to the council, or to Kristen, I guess, or the building. Actually, I think it's the building department it goes to. But I had that system for 4 years, and they never missed a 6 month period. Once they replaced the pump that had failed, and so they do their due diligence, which is again then passed on to Kristen, and they're very effective, and hence they're very expensive. And the cost of the yearly thing, if anybody cares, you do actually pay for it. It's right now it's about $600 a year to have them come every 6 months.
Okay, thank you.
Anything else about them you want to know? I have a good idea.
Any other questions? Councillor Thompson?
From what I was reading about it, I think this is also mandated by Ontario or something?
Yes, it
Yeah,
is.
so this isn't something the
It's not,
contractor...
we just
you
hope
could-
they're going to send you the stuff.
Yeah.
It's an actual mandate for that system.
Yeah, so even if the company goes bankrupt or they don't show,
Somebody takes it
it's
over.
law.
And it also
Okay.
passes to the next owner.
Right, Thank you.
They can't get out of it. It's just part of the deed, part of the sale and everything. Yeah.
very good to know, thank you.
Thank you. Are there any other, Councillor Tripp?
Thank you. And it was my question that I had as well, but it was really a follow through from the public meeting we had, because this topic was discussed at a very high level in the public meeting on the testing and the reporting back and forth. So this is really cutting technology. It's new for us, and not just at this council table, but when these are installed in other townships, the township gets that information, which I think is critical, because we don't have that on existing systems. We don't have that on the system that's there now. And that reinforces my comment that this is a significant improvement. If we're really about protecting the lakes, this is a significant step, not just on this build, or this, not build, but this special exemption. But I think in new builds going forward, there's some really interesting opportunities, especially when council has reports coming in, independent, to say that it's got the green check in terms of the system working efficiently. So, thank you.
Thank you. Any other questions? Councillor Popke?
I just want to, I guess, echo some of the previous comments that the applicant was basically dealt a shitty hand, inherited some problems, and he's doing his due diligence to improve on it and correct the problems that arose from previous people.
Thank you. And I'd just like to remind Councillor Popke that this is a family show, sir. Thanks. Just, if you just hang on for 1 sec here, I've just got a couple of things I'd like to say. Now, this septic system wouldn't be required if the unit above the garage wasn't there, which is fine. You purchased it, and some people might say caveat emptor. However, I assume you purchased through a real estate agent and you did your due diligence, and you probably had your lawyers look into title searches. And correct me if I'm wrong, I'm not going to turn to Kristen, but I'll turn to anyone. I do not believe in a title search that municipal bylaws and property standards are included in a title search, which is why that if you went through a real estate agent and you had a lawyer and you did your due diligence, this may never been brought up that it was on the at zero setback. Kristen, can you just confirm I'm correct on the title search side of things?
Yeah, I just wanted to say that that is true, but there are mechanisms in place where individual property owners can inquire about zoning and building permits and that sort of information when they're purchasing a property.
Thank you. Yes, sir, go ahead. You'll need the microphone, sir, because we're YouTubing it and recording. Just make sure it's on green.
Okay, you are correct. I have purchased numerous, like a lot of properties over the years. I hire lawyers to do exactly what you're talking about. I don't go and scrutinize my lawyer's work. I never have. I trust they do their job properly. In my case, he even called me the day before about a laneway on the other side. So I assumed he had done everything required. The previous owner, his lawyer also did not do his due diligence. So that's just how it goes. I don't know, Rob, if you believe that I should have scrutinized his work and checked. Probably 20 property purchases. I've never done it. I've never had this come up. Will I do it in the future? I probably will make a call to the township and say, hey, are there zoning issues here? Like, for sure, it's so easy to do. I just trust it, because when you get your bill from a lawyer, there's going to be a line in there that says title search, and you're paying for it every single time. So I'm not one to call the lawyer and say, are you sure you did it, sir? So I didn't. So I understand what you're saying, but in my case, I probably would never have done it until this day.
This time. And that's what I wanted to bring to light, is that we all go through purchases and so on, and we trust in the people we hire to do it. So thank you for that. Is there any other questions, comments, concerns from council? Do we need the resolution read again? No, then we'll call the question. All in favor? That is unanimous, so carried, sir. Thank you for attending today. We'll now move on to 12, Finance and Administration Department, 12.1, Workforce Readiness Plan, Resolution 107-26.
That council approve the Workforce Readiness Plan as attached herein.
Thank you. Do we have a mover? Councillor Popke, second by Councillor Thompson. Background, please. Jennifer.
Would be me.
Oh, it's Renee, sorry. Not on screen, I forgot about you already.
Oh, wow. So what we have here is as part of the strategic plan and the 2026 initiatives but also in 2025, we were discussing the development of a workforce readiness plan as well as a succession planning. So the intent here is more of a framework or plan around that hypothetical piece and what applies to our community when planning for workforce. So this plan really speaks to position readiness, knowledge transfer, documentation, employee development and career growth, and leadership continuity plan. Or planning. So the intent here is really to recognize that there's not really, some positions have people, in a structure that you can have somebody maybe step in a bit, where there's some positions that are single, or some departments that are single position across. So this is considering how small we are, that we would have a plan in place to really prepare for that documentation, knowledge transfer, and some cross training if required, or provide opportunity from this. We will be able to develop more personalized succession plans for employees to prepare. You may have employees that are looking to move from department to department or whatnot. With that succession planning, personalized kind of document, it would allow an employee to identify growth they're looking for for the township to plan for that and provide some opportunities for growth in that way, as well as with this workforce planning. It's really this documenting and transferring where not all the knowledge is in one place, but shared knowledge, more that know the information. It's easier to transition if there is any change within any of the departments.
Thank you. Is there any questions, comments, concerns, discussion items? Councillor Levesque.
Thank you, Renee. That was really well done. I looked through it and lots of very detailed stuff to prepare for. I just have a question because I've seen it in my career where knowledge retention and employee retention are somewhat tied. So sometimes you don't know someone has knowledge until they're gone, or sometimes people keep knowledge to themselves for their own leverage. So it's just more of a cautionary thing. It's hard to test for, it's hard to prove, but all of the things you have in place in this document are pretty, foolproof, as you say. But it's just something to caution, because I've seen that happen before, where knowledge walks out the door and you just don't have an idea until they're gone. So.
And I would agree with that. There's always going to be a gap in planning for this type of thing. So what's nice about having this plan in place is actually having people acknowledge and plan for it, and consider the fact of that knowledge transfer, because unfortunately that is how things may go with some people leaving.
Thank you.
Thank you. Councillor Tripp.
Thank you. And just to follow up on Jeff's comments, in terms of knowledge transfer and retention, this is a really exciting document. I want to thank you for putting it together. And we've come a long way in 4 years. As we approach the end of our term here, if you think back to when we first came to this table and how the township was in terms of its leadership, its administration, its internal structure, we've made huge strides. And this is really nice at the end of this term to see something like this with the forward thinking about a plan for the workforce readiness, but also starting to address the health and well-being of our team, and giving them the opportunity to start thinking of succession planning and those kind of foundational pieces of an organization to make sure that we have the right people at the right time in the right chairs. So hats off to the team who put this together, and Renee, through your leadership of it. It's nice to have something like this developed for incoming council to be able to take this and take the next steps forward with it. And Jeff's point was really strong. It's knowledge retention and losing knowledge becomes critical in an organization, and we've worked hard to get where we are now. We want to make sure we have these building blocks in place to help the new council coming in. Thank you.
Thank you. Councillor Thompson.
Yeah, I love it as well. It's also another element in one of the 4 pillars of our strategic plan, and that's good governance. And I'm seeing it with the MOU with the library, seeing it here. You know, there are so many things that need to be in place, that to have done so much in fairly short time is wonderful, but they need to be put in place so that we can grow, and that's part of our other pillars. So yes, excellent. It's another nice piece. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other questions, comments, concerns? No, once again, job well done. Thank you. It's, we have a great workforce and staff here, and anything we can do to help retain knowledge and retain them especially is fabulous. I guess we'll call the question then. All those in favor? That is unanimous, so carried. Thank you. We'll now move on to 12.2, Calabogie Junction Hub Campus and Concept Planning, Resolution 108-26, please.
That council authorize staff issue a request for proposal for professional consulting services related to the Calabogie Junction Hub Campus Concept Planning Initiative, and that staff report back to council with the results of the RFP process, recommended consultant selection, and proposed funding strategy prior to award.
Thank you. Do we have a mover? Councillor Tripp, second by Councillor Thompson. Background, please, Renee.
Yeah, so what we have here is another next step to the junction. As you could see, kind of pivoting into this hub campus concept. This is through consultation through the secondary plan, as well as all the consultation with the Health and Wellness Hub, where discussions were had regarding other social services for the community. So we've been working with, we had mentioned before, the Ministry of Health, as well as looking at other funding opportunities within government, including the Green Municipal Fund. When having those conversations, it's become apparent that we should be moving towards preparing for milestone 1, which is the feasibility validation process from the implementation readiness plan. So at this point, we would be looking to award kind of that preamble to the application. So we're in the pre-application phase for the Green Municipal Fund for a feasibility study. I've worked with the team up to now, and I have resubmitted this week. If we were successful, we'd be moving to the full application. This works that we would be going out to RFP for would be the works required to be able to apply for the first application of the full application. So what it is the full application actually requires some plans and some designs of buildings to be able to identify it. GMF, the Green Municipal Fund, has agreed that they would consider 2 buildings, which is not the norm with these studies. So this offers the opportunity to consider the community hub as well as the health and wellness hub, while considering at this point health and wellness would be more of that Ministry of Health or hospital type of grade, but more of a slab on grade building to provide for facility for services coming through. So this RFP will allow staff to go out to seek a consultant to complete this work and assist in the application. Should we be successful with the Green Municipal Fund, we could receive funding of up to $200,000 to be able to complete a full feasibility study. This would actually include more of that life cycle analysis, financial modeling, the capital costing, the technical analysis that's based on services for water and septic, those types of studies. If we require communal services for these facilities, what does that look like? So it really stages us for the next steps. So we would be looking to award at council the RFP, be looking at closing at the end of July. And the funding would be, again, from more of that growth component. There's library funds. We have the health services, I think it's the health services reserve, as well as development charges in Parkland Reserve, kind of moving more into that growth component for funding of the study.
Thank you. Any questions, comments, concerns from council at this time? There are none seen. Call the question. All in favor? That is unanimous. So carried. Thank you. We'll now move on to 12.3, Biannual Finance 2006 Information Item. And I believe Jen, I actually got it right this time.
Good afternoon. So this report provides council with a financial update for the period of January 1st to May 31st, 2026. Overall, the township's finances are tracking as expected. 5 months into the year, we would expect to be around the 41.7% of our annual budget, and both revenues and expenses are generally in line with those projections, as outlined in the table attached to your agenda. A few items worth highlighting include lower administration revenues compared to last year due to one-time WSIB surplus refund that was received in 2025. There's a slightly lower bank interest rate, so our bank interest revenue is slightly lower, and we also have higher environmental services revenues compared to last year from new agreements that came to effect in 2026. So building permit revenues got off to a slow start, slower than anticipated. However, staff have seen an increase in applications most recently and will continue to monitor activity throughout the remainder of the year. On the expenditure side, spending is generally where we would expect it to be at this point. Some departments are showing lower expenditures due to project timing. We have also experienced a few unexpected equipment failures that resulted in unplanned costs. And winter control wages are slightly over budget due to the extended winter season and late spring. Staff will continue to monitor these areas and provide further updates later in the year. We are generally still in line with our budget projections. However, as we get closer to the year, we'll have a better idea of whether or not we remain in target. As for capital projects, planning, tendering, and construction activities are progressing well. While some costs have been incurred, the majority of these costs will be occurred over the summer. Staff continue to actively pursue grant opportunities to support township initiatives and help reduce pressures on the tax base. So far this year, Township has secured funding for senior programming, fire services, road maintenance initiatives, community events, summer student employment. We're also awaiting decisions on several larger applications, including the Rural Ontario Development Grant, the EASE Grant, and the Ontario Trillium Foundation Grant. Some other notable updates include continued growth in the online billing portal. It's becoming more popular with approximately almost 300 residents now registered for it. We completed a successful tax sale involving 2 properties, and we're continuing to work on the development charge study and hoping to present something to the public closer to the fall. And the decision to proceed with the refurbished server replacement as the most cost-effective option for the township's IT needs. So staff have also continued to share education information through Did You Know posts, a social media campaign to help residents better understand municipal financing, including topics such as taxation, development charges, grant funding, and municipal services. So overall, the township remains in a stable financial position at this time, and the staff will continue to monitor revenues and expenditures, capital projects, and grant opportunities throughout the remainder of the year, and report back to council as needed. And I'd be happy to answer any questions you have.
Thank you. Is there any questions from council at this time? Now, once again, fabulous presentation. Thank you, Jen. Seeing no questions at this time, and this is an information item only, that we will be moving on then. Thank you, Jen. We'll now move on to the annual statement and development charges for 2025. Resolution 109-26. Resolution, please.
That council receive the information for informational purposes and that the annual statement of development charges be available to the public on the Township of Greater Madawaska's website.
Thank you. Do we have a mover? Councillor Popke, second by Councillor Tripp. Background, please.
Okay, so this report is the township's annual development charge treasurer statement for 2025. Following changes introduced by the province last fall, it is now a requirement to submit this report to the ministry and make it available to the public on the township website. Development charges are collected from new development and help pay for growth-related infrastructure and services such as roads, fire protection, parks, recs, libraries, and waste diversion. The goal is to ensure that growth pays for growth, and rather than placing these costs on existing taxpayers. In 2025, the township collected approximately $138,000 in development charges and earned over $900 in interest. During the year, approximately $48,000 was used to help fund eligible development charge capital projects, mainly related to transportation and recreation. The statement attached to this report provides a breakdown of the reserve fund balances, collections, interest earned, and expenditures for each service category, and no development charge credits were issued during the year, and the township remains compliant with the requirements of the Development Charges Act. The recommendation is simply that council receive this report for information and that the treasurer's statement be posted on the township website as required by legislation.
Thank you. Is there any questions, comments, concerns from council? Seeing none, I'll call the question. All in favor? That is unanimous, so carried. Thank you. Sorry. We will now move on to 13.1. 13.1, countywide review of communal services as a tool to support housing, economic development, and growth. A motion brought forward by myself and clerk. I'll read this resolution since it is one that I put forward, and it's also long, and I don't want you to make you do it. Resolution 110-26. Whereas the County of Renfrew Strategic Plan identifies housing, economic development, infrastructure planning, shared services, and financial sustainability as strategic priorities, and whereas the municipalities across Renfrew County continue to identify service limitations as significant barriers to housing development, workforce housing, economic growth, and the efficient use of developable land, sorry, thank you, Councillor Tripp. And whereas housing affordability, workforce attraction and retention, growth management, and infrastructure planning are increasingly regional challenges affecting multiple municipalities throughout Renfrew County. And whereas communal services may provide opportunities to support housing, economic development in areas where full municipal services are unavailable, and while also presenting governance, financial, operational, and long-term oversight considerations. And whereas the Township of Greater Madawaska experience with communal servicing has demonstrated both the opportunities and responsibility associated with such systems. And now therefore be it resolved that the Council of the Township of Greater Madawaska requests that the County of Renfrew undertake a complete county-wide review of communal servicing opportunities and the potential regional role of the county in supporting housing, economic development, growth management, and sustainable community development. And further that the review include consideration of potential approaches through which county could support communal servicing initiatives, including coordination, technical assistance, governance, frameworks, partnerships, and shared services, financial participation, project facilitation, and other regional models. And further that the county engage lower tier municipalities as part of this review and report back the findings and options as recommended next steps. And further that a copy of this resolution be circulated to all lower tier municipalities within the County of Renfrew requesting their consideration and endorsement. And further that a copy of this resolution be forwarded to the County of Renfrew for consideration and action. Do we have a mover? I'll move it since it's mine, so myself as mover, and then seconder, Councillor Thompson. The background is sort of within it itself. If there's any questions, I'll be happy to answer. Councillor Levesque.
Thank you for that. Just a quick question. What's the source? Did you write it?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. I
Yep.
didn't, because most of the
Motions.
motions that we have coming usually come from somewhere else. So it's important that everybody recognize it came from you. So
Yeah,
thank you.
it's something that through conversations with other municipalities and the limitations that's on our economic development and housing that I thought necessary, it needs to be brought to the higher tier. And I'm hoping that we get support from part of our lower tier municipalities, because I think it's very important to the growth of our county. So happy to any other questions. Councillor Thompson.
I think Frontenac County, I understood, did a pilot project for something like this. And I understood that Renfrew County was in the process of waiting till their pilot was done or something. It was all, I didn't know. So is there anything different now where you feel this will go forward?
I believe that now it's been over 2 years since Frontenac has had this testing facility. Well, it's not a testing facility, it's an active. The data is there, the data is in from Frontenac. It has not, at this point, it hasn't been reviewed, it hasn't seen or reviewed on how it could affect our municipalities within Renfrew County, how we could service it, and what structure we would need around it. This is more putting it back in front of the county again, but with the support of the lower tiers. So it has a little more strength going in, saying here the lower tiers have, if in fact the lower tiers, well, in fact, if we pass it first, and then if the lower tiers wish to put it forward as well to their councils. So I just think it needs to be something that needs to be brought back up again, because it is affecting our growth, our economic development, our attainable housing, our workforce housing. And these are all things we need to address, and I think it needs to have a bigger focus again. Councillor Tripp.
Thank you. And I agree. I think this is a really strong catalyst, even with Lanark having theirs a couple of years out and maybe falling a bit off the boil. To put this in front of county now, I think is really critical. And I also think going forward, we sit here as a lower tier, and we're doing the work that we do at this table, there's another table that we need to engage with, I think, more effectively and more efficiently going forward in the coming years. And we do that through our mayor attending those meetings. And as we started beginning of this session with Councillor Levesque asking a question of, is there information from those meetings coming back? It's the communication back and forth. This is the first step towards policy integration, which I think is really important for this table, to put that message in front of county that we need to start having these conversations about coordination around policy and the delivery of policy and the delivery of programs, and this is that catalyst. So thanks for putting it forward. I think it's a very important tool for the coming years.
Thank you. Councillor, let's go Councillor Levesque.
Just a follow-up question. It's not specifically laid out, but it could be included in here. Where do you see childcare as part of that support for that? Because it's a hot topic, as we know, but also it's connected with workforce planning and those other things.
Well, I think, number one, if there's a communal service set up somehow within the greater Madawaska or some other areas, what it does is it gives us more opportunity to build those buildings that could be available for diverse uses such as childcare. So I think that opens more doors for us, and the fact that it allows for more workforce housing or attainable housing, that will also create more people to open those type of businesses. So I think it's critical to the growth of sustained growth.
But we wouldn't put it specifically as a highlight?
I don't think so, because that's, once again, it's an individual business. It's an individual business corporation, and we as a governance can't.
I mean, currently it is. I'm saying,
yeah.
Would we offer that as part of what we're asking for?
Well, the communal services would assist in allowing the buildings to be built. Now, through the County of Renfrew, with their, they have an interest in daycare themselves, and they run licensed daycares, and they also support licensed daycares. So also having the communal underneath the umbrella of the county would also tie into the other resources that the county has and could assist us in making things available.
Thank you.
Thank you. Councillor Thompson.
For anyone listening, it's probably, what the heck are they talking about? There's now the technology to have, instead of those big, expensive water and wastewater systems that the cities have, you can do modular systems, so we can slowly, that's what we need to grow, because they're really expensive and very risky. And when the whole county works together and creates a corporation that will take care of all of the modular, not completely take care of, but they'd be the corporation responsible. There's a shared responsibility, shared risk, as well as staffing, maintenance, all those things. So if we want to put in a health hub, it would be good to have this in place first, or even an apartment building, to have these things. So I just thought I'd explain it, because I know you know it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And for everybody, we actually have two communal septic or water processing systems within our township. One is the Calabogie Lodge and one is the Calabogie Peaks. So we do have history and knowledge behind it, and we can use that information to assist county, and I assume our other municipalities would be weighing in on as well as, number one, what's the cost of their current water systems and the replacement of those? But I think that if we get a higher arching view from the county on how they can assist with this, I think it's a good strategy overall for the county and each individual municipality. Is there any other questions, concerns, or anything I can assist with? Well, I'll call the question, and please do not ask me to read the resolution again. Thank you. I'll call the question. All in favor? That is unanimous, so carried. Thank you. We'll now move on to 14, bylaw approval, 14.1 bylaw approval, resolution 111-26, resolution, please.
Be it resolved that the following bylaw, 31, 2026 confirmatory, be deemed read a first, second, and final time and passed by council at the regular council meeting held June 18th, 2026.
Do we have a mover? Councillor Tripp, second by Councillor Levesque. All in favor? That is unanimous, so carried. We'll now move on to 15.1, adjournment. Motion to adjourn, Resolution 112-26. Resolution, please.
That the regular council meeting of June 18th, 2026 be adjourned at 4:15 PM.
Thank you. Do we have a mover? Councillor Thompson, second by Councillor Tripp. All in favor? That is unanimous, so carried. Sean, please advise when we are off camera.